unless you're asking a question. Some of you don't keep your video on, so it would be nice initially if you guys could acknowledge who you are when you're asking the question. So with that, KK, I will turn it over to the media for their questions.
KK, good afternoon. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you. Just don't think we talked to you just since there's been quite a lot of changes around the organization this year, from the coaching staff through the roster. How, as a veteran guy, how have you processed it all? I mean, I know you've had to say goodbye to a lot of guys and welcome a lot of new guys. How have you handled it all?
It's, we know it's a business at the end of the day. Some of those guys I've grown to be brothers, and I talk to every day, or not every other day. And it wasn't a goodbye, just see you later, and knowing you're going off to do something better, and whether it's another team or you're not playing anymore, life still continues. And those guys, man, didn't take what happened for granted or anything like that, man. It's just they moved on to the next stepping stone in life.
KK, on that note, Josh Graham and the Triad. I wonder, with the offseason the way it's been, if it's hit you yet that out of the 5 captains on last year's team, you're the only one left standing from last year's roster.
Yeah, man, it's I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, it's seeing those guys, and then next thing you know, it just all vanished. And it just trickled down. But again, like I told Joe, it's a business. Whether those guys went to a different team or not playing anymore, I still consider those guys a captain in life, and whatever they're going to do in life, man, I feel that they're going to be ahead of the curve, and knowing that they can conquer anything they take on.
KK, hey, since this offseason obviously has been one of rehab for you after missing most of last season, how are you feeling shoulder-wise? How much work were you able to put in? And did the fact that you couldn't be in the facility, couldn't kind of get out there and work with other people because of COVID-19 maybe affect some of your rehab?
I feel good. I'm still working on the little kinks as far as just getting a range of motion, but other than that, man, I feel good. Shoulder repair was an awesome success. Far as when the whole COVID thing came about and shutting down the facilities, luckily I had a couple of stuff that I could do at home, and I had got a Peloton and was riding the bike, and just being outside, man. The heat just made it a lot more secure for me to just get out and shed some pounds and sweat a little more, and just being able to do a lot more things, just getting in the pool, working the arm motion movements. And it was definitely one of those things that you had to reinvent to just see stuff outside of the facility, barbells and different stuff around the house. Challenge, but JB, those guys, man, text me and told me a lot of stuff that I can do outside of the facility, which helped me a lot.
KK, this is Herb Harder of the Charlotte Post. Considering that you are a veteran and you're accustomed to NFL training camps being a certain way, are you finding yourself trying to adjust to the reality of COVID-19 and the challenges that presents in itself of pulling off a camp successfully?
Definitely, man. Just as far as me in general, just getting back into football mode, it's just a whirlwind right now, and trying to get myself set to where, back into the norm, what I'm doing and how I do prepare for training camp. We got a lot of cautious stuff around here, so we have to understand that the stuff that we normally do the year in, the year out of camp, you have to realize like now it's a whole nother, direction that we go in as far as just trying to keep everybody safe in this building. So, like when we get into the hot tubs, then it could be a certain person, so many people in there. So now you got to realize like all this time that you have to get ready for practice, you have to utilize it and put it in the right aspect to where if I got 5 minutes to do this or 5 minutes to do that, because you got to know everybody's trying to do everything but can't be in a certain spot at the same time. So, and that's it, coming in early, getting extra treatment or trying to beat the curve. A lot of these guys coming in right before practice. So just trying to get that situated and trying to get a handle on that, man, really takes effect to how we trying to get ready for practice and trying to get ready for meetings.
Okay, David Newton, glad to see you back, first of all. But what do you think, talking about all the players gone, what do you think about the talent around you, and how do you classify this? Do you think it's rebuilding, reload, or how would you classify it?
Man, it's a lot of young talent around, and different guys like Tahir White coming from different other teams. What you see on tape is what you see on tape, but just getting around these guys and seeing how these guys, like the rookies, are ready to learn and the way they learn this playbook, and it's new for everybody in this facility right now. Just to get used to each other, getting used to the playbook, and trying to get used to how each person's style of play is. So I think it's going to take us some time to, put everything in perspective. But let's not forget where, it's football. So we got to come prepared. We got to come ready to willing to win. The most thing we got to do is work together, communication, all those type of things that we keep emphasizing is, that's not going to change. We just got to change the way that we approach each other and how each other play.
Okay, Jason here for WFNZ. Kind of piggybacking off that a little, you had a chance to talk or meet with Derek Brown or any of the new rookies, and following up on that, what are you looking forward to kind of being that veteran guy now on the defensive front and teaching those guys?
I'm just ready to see those guys work, man. I'm the type of guy that, try to lead by example, and now becoming into that 8th season and really, really being a vet around here now. I have to, step up and be vocally. So, just showing like Derek and all those guys, man, what I've done to put myself in position and what they can do to help me, what I can do to help them. We just got to work together. And I think those guys came from a good foundation, a good organization from college to, put themselves and take that step forward to having a great rookie year.
Okay, this is Miles Simmons, new for Panthers.com. So I'm just wondering if you could describe a little bit more of what you've seen just from the safety precautions around the facility and how you've been feeling as you've been in the facility.
The process is crazy. Coming in, as soon as you get out your car, you got to do a test. You can't even really get in the parking lot without a mask. Hand sanitizer everywhere. And then after you get past that, you have another one before you get to the door. You have to fill out a survey. Then you have to do another temperature check. Then we have these monitors walking around. You can't be too close to anybody. I think the precaution that they have around here, man, is it's crazy. It's overwhelming, but it's the right thing to do for this organization to try to keep us safe and COVID-free.
KK, this is Elena Gefford from the Charlotte Observer. I don't think we've met in person yet, so it's nice to meet you. I was wondering for you, we've seen a lot of high-profile players choose to opt out of this season. I was wondering if that's something you had all considered, or maybe just your thoughts on seeing that around the league.
Every player in this league probably thought about it, and whatever their decision they made is the decision that they made. Like I said, I thought about it, and different answers that I've come up with, or just talking to my family and seeing how if one decision would determine another person's decision or just mine as well. So we all got our reasons. We all have why or why not, and I respect those guys who did, and I respect the guys who didn't.
Hey, this is Herb White again. Last year's defense was on a historically bad one in terms of touchdowns against the run, that type of thing. What is it that you see that with this year's group is going to have to do to turn that around, where it's not giving up so many yards per run, touchdowns, that kind of thing?
You got to be better than last year. No, but we just got to be disciplined. And we all got to come in with the right mindset, and the most common goal is to win. So we got to put each other in, we got to hold each other accountable. If we see one position or one player or one coach slacking, we just got to, we got to be communicated and tell these guys, like, man, like, if the defensive line not doing their job, like, tell us and we're going to get it corrected as far as, so on and so on. As a defense, we got to be able to take criticism and take that and make it motivation.
Hey, KK. My name is Jonathan Alexander with the Charlotte Observer. If I could kind of piggyback off of Laney's question, I know the NFLPA was saying that 70% of its players are at risk of more severe symptoms of COVID-19. And the big reason is because defensive linemen and offensive linemen have higher BMIs. I'm wondering if you all were told that and whether that kind of factored in. Did you think about that in your thought process when you wanted to play the season?
I mean, we all know we big, man, and we know we at a certain weight, over 300 pounds, and that's where, again, that's where one of those, those thoughts in your mind come up front, and we have to understand that we just got to be as cautious as we can, man. With that being said, that we off the field, we got to try to be as more clean as far as hands and washing hands and not putting hands around your face and just trying to keep ourselves preventative of catching it. We don't know what will happen on the field. We tackling, we pushing, sweat's dripping and all this stuff. We just got to be cautious, and hopefully, we feel that our organization will have a lot of stuff to precaution on the side of the field to, when we get off, try to prevent that from touching our face, hand sanitizer, washing them. They got like little portable sinks around here, so I'm thinking those are going to be on the sideline as well. So without guys who have these preconditioned, illness or anything like that, I feel that we should be secure of just being clean, trying to be clean as far as off the field.
As far as Derek Brown goes, we've heard Marty talk about how he thinks he can help you and the whole defense in part to, occupying maybe some double teams. You see that? Are you excited about that? And is it mindful at all of when you played with?
Two totally different guys. I mean, again, I haven't played with Derek yet, but just seeing him around and what he's done from the day he got drafted to to today, man, he just put himself in a position. Guy willing to work, guy willing to do whatever it takes to help out anybody. So as far as the double teams, who knows? Like, they might just double team him and try to leave me one-on-one. So I don't know, but we just got to be ready. And, it's not always a predict where, all right, they're going to double team me on this play, you got to win, or they're going to double team you. We just got to be prepared to win every play that we play. We don't know when those double teams or those one-on-ones going to come. We just got to play every play like it's the last and win.
Hey, KK, it's Kawann Staley. Just what are your thoughts on Phil Snow and the new scheme that he plans on putting?
Phil's a guy, man. He's coming with energy. He's like one of those guys that don't back down from a challenge, and just being virtually and right before the COVID thing happened, being here, just talking to him in person, man. Fired up. He's ready. He feels that he got the right tools to make this a great defense, and we all on board, and we just ready for, to complete this task that he got for us. And I think like his system, his willingness to win, man, is just second to none. So I think a lot of guys bought into the process, and it's going to show this year.
Hey, this is Deshawn with Channel 9 here in Charlotte. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. I wanted to ask, with everything going on between COVID and also a modern day civil rights movement, what about your perspective has changed coming into this year?
It's just a crazy year right now. I mean, 2020 is kind of undefeated, man. It's unexpected. And all the stuff that we're going through, we fighting through right now, we still don't have answers. So I feel that it's going to be a long process, but I feel like we're going towards the right direction to having justice and whatever the case may be as far as, justice, getting over COVID, going in the right direction. It's just taking time.
Anything else for KK, guys?
KK, this question was kind of all the rage during quarantine, but now that we're out, people don't really ask anymore. What were you binging on TV during that time? We were all inside for 2 months straight.
Money Heist was one. Imposters was another.
Imposters.
And then Shameless. I had gotten into Shameless late, so like 10 seasons was like crazy for me. So that was something that took over like probably a month or two. just to get through Seamus. And that's probably about it. Then after that, I just was working.
Okay, if I could ask you one more, maybe. What have you seen? I know you haven't been around him a ton, but out of Shaq with the kind of turnover at the line.
Who is that, Joe?
What have you seen? I'm sorry, out of Shaq with all the turnovers, particularly at linebacker.
Shaq who? Nah, Shaq, man. Shaq's he's a ball magnet, man. So Shaq can be around the ball. Every highlight around here, every tape around here, man, you just see Shaq in the picture. And Shaq just one of those guys, man. He's doing everything to put himself in position. And I think a lot of guys is coming behind him as far as the rookie-wise. It's just every film we turn on and we see that, it's going to be like, man, Shaq's a ball hog. And so it's a competition, a race to get to the ball, to get it out, to, recover that fumble, to make them fumble, whatever the case may be. But I think Shaq, one of those guys who come from year one to, year 4 now, that improved every year. And like you see now that he's put himself in one of those top positions to be one of those dominant linebackers right now.
Shaq, David, you again. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned how you're kind of a quiet leader by example. Shaq's always been that way too. McCaffrey's been kind of that way too. But as you mentioned, you got to be more vocal. So can you just turn that on and off? I mean, who do you see as the leaders of this team with everybody?
You put me on the spot. Besides the guys that you mentioned, you got DJ and Curtis in the wide receiver room who, is a big impact on this organization right now. You got Russell Okung, who's here now. You got Tyler, who's in the offensive line. You got Trey Boston. And the list goes on. You got Chris Manhurst. All those guys, man, who's been here and who's done it in so many years can pick it up and just be able to lead by example, but also talk. I mean, you got a lot of guys who's going to, separate from the actions as far as doing it by example, and you got a lot of guys who's going to talk, verbally. So I think we got a nice mixture of, guys who's going to talk and guys who's going to do it as well. So I think the mixture around here is pretty good.
We got time for
Okay.
one or two more guys. So,
Hey, I'm Matt Rule. We've talked about wanting to maybe use some of the guy play a bit more one tech than you have in the past, or do you expect your usage is going to basically be the same as it has?
I'm expecting to play linebacker, to be honest. I'm just playing. I'm just available, man. Wherever they want me to play, I'm there. I just got to learn. I got to know all the positions on the defensive line. Got to know what every guy does, every play. So just being available when that play is called and they tell me to bump out, I'm got to bump out, and I know what I'm doing. So everybody in that defensive line got to know every position on the defensive line. So I think we all to be ready. We all can, take on that task, and I think we all can do well.
Okay, I was just wondering for you, after all the time you missed last year, now waiting to kind of get back out on the field, what has that been like for you, and how much are you looking forward to the next couple of weeks of finally being
tough.
out?
I got gray hair now. It's crazy. I think from the day that I was diagnosed, that I knew that my season was done. It was kind of like one of those this is crazy, because I've never been, knock on wood, I've never been hurt or missed a game like that, or a couple games in a row. So this was new for me. Just going through from October of last year all the way until February, where I kind of felt like I was getting back to normal. I had a lot of things just going through my mind mentally and physically. So once February kind of turned, I kind of started turning around, as far as feeling more a normal shoulder, benching wise, and it was just I wouldn't say depression, but it was just kind of really just didn't have a direction to where to go. You see a lot of guys who get injured and sidelined for so many weeks, but when it happened to yourself for the first time, you kind of don't know. It's kind of like a rookie year all over again. You don't know what to expect from your honest. So as that got on, I had some scares where I thought my shoulder wasn't healing right. I felt like it wasn't in the right direction. It wasn't at a certain percentage at a certain time. But I had to trust the doctors and trust our trainers. It was all right, this is kind of how it's going to go. You're going to feel that you got setbacks. You're going to feel good one day, and then the next day you feel like you went back. So just trusting in them and really realizing that, they was right the whole time. And as it turned around now, I'm not in a rush to just go out there and kill it, but I'm in a rush to just go out there and just play football.
Great. Guys, we probably should let KK wrap up here. So if I can give you one more, but if that's it, then I'll let him be on his way. Everybody good? Great. KK, thanks so much.
I appreciate y'all.
Thanks,
Thank
KK.
you, KK.
Thank you.
Media, if you guys want to hang on the line here, we'll probably just switch to Shaq straight away. So everybody just hold tight.
You cannot start your video because the host has displayed it. Ryan, you displayed it.
We can see you guys. I can hear you.
I can't see you. You displayed it.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on a second, Shaq. You're on with everybody, so we just want to make sure we turn our video on here.
That's okay.
Here we go.
Are you good, Ryan?
Yes, we're good, Bruce. You're okay. And guys, obviously, thanks for taking a few minutes with KK. And now we're on to Shaq Thompson. Again, for a lot of you guys, there's some new faces, and Shaq's meeting everybody, much like a lot of us, for the first time. So please, be sure to introduce yourself and maybe reintroduce yourself even if you've already met. But we'll go ahead and turn it over for questions to the media. Shaq, thanks for taking the time.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Go ahead, guys.
Shaq, hey, Josh Klein from the Riot Report. Last year, before training camp, it was a completely different situation. We were outside in Spartanburg, and you said you felt like it was going to be the year of 54. You had kind of a career year last year in terms of tackles, signed the big contract. what do you think this year is going to bring for you, and what are your personal goals for 2020?
Personal goals is just go out there and be a leader. One of my brothers had retired last year, and I know he'll probably tell me the same, step up, be a leader. And that's what I'm going to do for him, myself, and this team that we have.
Shaq Scholar here with Sports Illustrated. What would you say has been kind of the most difficult part about this offseason with all the things that are going on with COVID-19 and trying to get ready for this season?
I would say just scheduling, just trying to figure out what's going to happen next, when is the next thing that's going to happen, and just trying to be on the right page with the organization and just trying to mix and match with the NFL. So I think the hardest part has just been scheduling.
Shaq, what has been the process of just trying to get integrated with everything that now has happened in terms of just getting to the facility, getting your physical done? What's that process been like?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. It was cutting out.
Sorry. Yeah, just what's been the process of getting yourself now integrated into everything now that you're back into the facility, from getting the test done to getting your physical and everything like that?
That was just coming in at different times. You had to come in with different groups, and you had to come on your time schedule and make sure you're there on time. But once you get through that, it's just like you got to wear these monitors, and you got to stay 6 feet apart. That's probably the easy part, even though you want to, be close to your brothers, talk to your brothers and all that stuff, but you just got to stay back. But that's probably been the easiest part. And nothing really too hard. We just always learn how to adapt and adjust, and that's just what we got to do, adapt and adjust.
You mentioned leadership. You've been a quiet leader through the last few years. Same for KK. Some of the guys that were more boisterous leaders are gone now. Who do you see as being the leaders, and how is that tough for you to step up and be a boisterous leader?
Nah, it's not tough for me, but I knew my place. I knew who my leaders were. It was Luke, TD on defense, and now they're gone, and I know they'll tell me to step up and be vocal. And so that's what I'm going to do this year. And I think each position has their leaders. We got Christian McCaffrey with the running backs. We got Russell Kuhn or Matt Paradise or Tyler Lawson with the linemen. We got Teddy quarterbacks. You got DJ Moore, wide receivers, Trey Boston, safeties, Tyre, myself, and linebackers, KK and Stephon, and all those guys at D-line. So everybody has a leader in a position to take role, and I think that's what we're going to do.
Hey, Shaq, with the defense that didn't perform up to expectations last year, what is it that you see that this group has to do now that you're especially switching back to a 4-3 instead of the mix of 3-4 and 4-3 last year?
We got a whole new standard. We got a whole different coaching staff. So we're going to go with their standard, and that's how we're going to play ball. We can't talk about last year because that's a whole different staff, and this is a whole different team. We got new players. We got some old players. But we can't dwell on how last year went. All we could do is fix this year.
Shaq, this is Peter King with NBC. A question about what this year is like and how different it is to come into the facility and sort of not be able to sit around, talk to a lot of your friends in the locker room. You're in a suite now for much of the day. What all is that like?
I feel like you can still do the same thing that we did before. You just got to stay 6 feet. You can still talk to your friends, go talk ball, or talk to your brothers and talk ball. You just got to do it from 6 feet. I don't think there's really nothing changed. It's just staying 6 feet apart from each other. And I think that's the biggest thing. But everything else is still the same in my eyes.
Hey, Shaq, Josh Graham from the Triad. I just want to get your general reaction to the entire draft being devoted to defense, especially after the free agency period was mostly spent addressing offensive concerns.
It's a little above my pay grade, but I felt like that's what the coaches wanted to focus on, and that's what they did. I don't really have much to say about that because I'm not in that draft meeting or a part of that draft day. So I believe in the coaches. I feel like they knew what they were doing, and we got the guys who are going to fit this organization and fit this defense and fit this team.
To follow that real quick, though, have you had a chance to get to know any of the rookies yet? Spent time trying to foster those relationships?
Yeah. Just a little time. Just seeing them through the lockers, saying what's up to them and stuff like that. But it's mainly just on virtual meeting. just getting to know them and just chopping it up with them and just trying to build a relationship through Zoom or a virtual meeting.
Hey, Shaq, Jason Huber, WFNZ. What are some of the challenges that with a young team around now and a lot of new pieces on that defense with having this uncertain kind of training camp starting late, not too long before the season starts? So what are some of the challenges with that, and how are you expecting to kind of manage that going forward in the next few weeks?
Just having a young team, I just think it's a lot of experience. But at the end of the day, it's just football. They just got to know, and we got to teach them that the game's going to move fast. But just settle them down like, man, it's just football. You've been playing football your whole life. Just go out there, play your game, play your technique, your assignment in the defense, and you'll be all right.
Shaq, you mentioned first and foremost, this year wanting to be a leader. From a football perspective, kind of what's next for you and anything in particular you're going to, kind of try to work on this new defense?
Just helping my team win, trying to help this organization win games. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not really focused on myself. I'm a team player, and that's what I'm focused on. And my stats, I'm just going to play how they play. But I'm all about this team.
Shaq, we've seen some of the challenges other sports have had. Some have been really successful with the corona. Major League Baseball has had their challenges for sure. What the biggest challenge for the NFL?
Just guys got to be smart. You know what I mean? You can't be selfish during this time and during this COVID. You got to think about other guys and their families and stuff like that and their health issues or whatever they have going on. You just got to be smart about that, especially the young and single guys who want to go have fun and stuff like that. It's just stuff has to wait. Wait until next year, wait till we figure out COVID. But right now during the season, if you want to play, you got to be smart and just think about other people instead of yourself.
Shaq, what is the upside or the downside to having no preseason games to get?
Or you broke up there a little bit. You probably should.
There's too many people talking. I can't really hear.
Sorry about that, Jack. I was just saying that with no preseason games, what's the plus or the minus to not having preseason games to get into shape?
The minus is you can't. The rookies, undrafted guys, or first-year, second-year guys, or guys that are trying to make the team, don't have film to go out there and prove themselves that they're capable to stay in this league and they're able to play with these guys at this highest level. The plus is that we get a little more rest before the season. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing, but I think it's good. It's a good and bad thing. Depends on who you talk to.
Jack, you mentioned your chemistry with Taylor Whitehead and being leaders. How long do you think it's going to be you're going to have to take to really be able to hone in on that chemistry on the field? Because obviously that's important between you two as linebackers.
The chemistry was built right when we found out that we picked him up. I instantly asked for his number and just to try to build a relationship, and I think it just popped off right off the bat. I mean, we know that the relationship has to happen quick, and we know that we can do that, and we know that we're the leaders and the older guys, older vets in the linebacker room, and we gotta get there all the young guys to come up because you never know what's gonna happen, and it's always the next man mentality.
Shaq, I know you were protesting, out at Marches for Black Lives Matter this offseason and meeting with CMPD. I guess for you, what do you want to, see this team continue to do for those sort of things, or why was it important for you to be out there during the offseason?
Just continue to make change and continue to support your African-American males that are playing this sport. Really, everybody support us in every way. And that's really it about that situation.
Hey, Shaq, I'm curious about your take on new defensive coordinator Phil Snow. What do you like about the scheme that he's drawn up for this team this year?
I think it's going well, especially with the guys that we have in play. His defense allows a lot of athletic guys to be on the field and make plays and just play football. And I think Coach Snow done a great job with just installing stuff like that, and we'll be ready to go.
Shaq, you mentioned making sure you're staying 6 feet away. Have you had a situation in the facility where the contact tracer has gone off and you've said, I didn't realize how close I was?
Nah, I mean, you're just going to be close regardless. Sometimes that's just going to happen, but then you just got to back away for a couple of seconds and make do.
Can you use that contact tracer to prove to the quarterbacks how close you were during practice and that you can – that's a big point of contention.
You got to stay away from the quarterbacks. Gotta keep them throughout the season. Can't get too close to them.
Shaq, what's it going to be like having KK back in the middle of this defense and playing beside a guy like Derek Brown that can really give that push and draw a lot of double teams up front? What's it going to be like for the defense and for you guys at linebacker especially?
For the defense, for the organization, probably for KK. We love to have KK back. We're happy to have KK back. He's a tremendous help to this defense. As you guys know, KK is a big part of this defense, and just to have him teaching Derek Brown. Derek Brown's a special young guy. I think he's going to be a tremendous player in this league, and just having those guys and just Burns and Stephon, all those guys, man, it's going to be tremendous.
Shaq, have you had any dealings yet with Luke?
Say it again.
Have you had any dealings yet with Luke in his role as a scout?
Nah, man, I just see Luke as my brother, man. I see him, we talk ball, we talk about each other's families, how your family's doing, and that's it. We just keep it like that. We don't talk about what he's doing in retirement, how he's liking scout and stuff like that. We just keep our relationship as always be, how it's always going to be, brothers.
Shaq Deep, Jonathan Alexander with the Charlotte Observer. I hope you're doing well. Do you anticipate, leaning on Luke or anybody else during the season for advice, I guess, if, anything comes up?
I'm going to lean on everybody. I lean on my brothers. I mean, if anything happens, I should be able to talk to them. And if anything, same vice versa. If everything happens to them, they should be able to talk to me. That's what I'm going to lean on. I'm also going to lean on my family and these coaching staff.
Anything else for Shaq, everybody?
Shaq, I wanted to ask you, since you were really active with the Black Matters Lies and the protests and everything, what have you seen from other sports that they're doing to keep the cause going forward, and what do you want to see in the NFL?
I just want to see the cops be arrested for who killed Breonna Taylor and the investigation for Stephon Clark to be reopened. Thank you.
Shaq, I wondered, you mentioned about young players in particular having to be smart this year. Will you have that sort of talk with those guys at some point, either individually or in any sort of a position meeting or team meeting?
If it comes about and if I need to, at the end of the day, I will teach them how to be, they will learn also how to be professionals. We kind of already talked about it in team meetings and stuff like that. And guys here have done a great job of just staying away and doing all that. So I think they got it. I think they're all professional. We have some intelligent rookies who are smart. So I think they got it done.
All right, guys, we got to let Shaq go, but thank you so much to everybody for taking the time. And Shaq, really good to see you. Thanks a lot for
you too, Ryan. Appreciate you guys. Stay safe.
Thanks, Shaq. You too.